Welcome everybody to Juiceboxtalk, our first ever Halloween sode. So you can see by our costumes, Anthony
Pumpkin
is a
juice
slutty.
flavored juices.
He is a slutty pumpkin. I am a slutty pirate. So it's pretty fun. Look, boom, 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 boom. Look,
Join
look at
our
him dance.
OnlyFans. Join our
Look at him dance.
OnlyFans, and you can see.
You can see him dance. Bop,
I
bop,
can
bop,
make
bop,
my.
bop,
I can
bop.
make the Bronco neigh.
Oh God. Um, but so we wanted to do something different because we've never had a Halloween episode before, and we don't usually talk about spooky stuff. But in light of spooky season, I watched a horror movie the other day that the Caterpillars of Paris.
Catacombs of Paris.
The Catacombs of Paris. And I'm not talking about the cereal, honeycomb. Um, so I never I didn't know that was an actual thing, and so we'll get into that in a minute. But so we're talking about that. I wanted to bring up Skinwalker Ranch because we live in Utah and Native Americans believe in it. So I feel like that was interesting. And then we wanted to talk about cod, of course. But first, I wanted to start with the spookiest thing of all, which is Utah's COVID cases. Spooky hands. So I feel like we've actually done really well with COVID. How do you feel about it? So what have you been doing in lockdown so from start of lockdown, everything closed in Utah. Um, how did you keep your sanity, especially with you being injured? So like I've relied just plainly on fitness. Like I went from like 225 down to 180 just running and then plumped back up to 220. And it's like I don't know, like, what have you done now that because like you're finally recovering from your surgery, but you couldn't run or anything before so what did you do at the start of quarantine?
The start of quarantine, I was okay because I was running, and they had like this big thing about it's airborne, it's airborne. But I was, it. I mean, it is airborne, like with the whole mask thing. But I'm like, I'll wear a mask while I'm running, but if I don't see anybody, I don't need to have it on. And I'm like, you saying it being a big problem while I'm running where I live, it's like someone coughing 2 blocks away, and then the particles just like go right into my mouth and get me sick. And I'm like, it doesn't, it can work, I guess, but the odds of that actually happening is just, but my area has been super low. But got sick, or before everything was like, I'm just going to run, it's going to be great. And then I got sick and then got hurt. And then I was just like, shit. And pretty much I had just been silently losing my sanity from going to different doctor's appointments, to different procedures, to more doctor's appointments, to another procedure, and then the final one where I got my actual surgery done. So it's just been a combination of, oh, and I had PT when I hurt myself at work. So it was just a combination of laying on the sofa and playing COD with you.
Yeah, I'm like because like yeah, I've been like exercising, and it's like I was like at the start of lockdown when gyms closed, I was like, I don't know if I've ever been able to run a sub 21 minute 5K. I wonder if I can do that. And then I hit that mark like 3 months into quarantine. I was able to consistently hit a sub 21. It was like 20:30 for a 5K. So I was like, okay, now that I hit that, now
Yeah.
what? And I was like, I don't really like my body type at 180. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture then and a picture now, and it's like just my body type was like weird thin. It's like it's not even like I was starving myself or anything. It's just like I wasn't like anything like I don't eat a lot of like fast food or anything now. Like the worst thing I eat is like taquitos that you heat up in from the free like from Costco. Um, and it was just like I was just running so much that like everything was just burning off. And then at work I walk like a half a marathon a day, so it's like it's all just
Yeah.
burning off, and then yeah, now I plumped back up. But as far as like Utah goes, we've had a very weird dealing with COVID. It's been like at the start, like they did with everybody, it was bad, scary. Even masks don't work. 10% of people that get this straight up die for no reason other than like they get COVID, they die. 10%
Yeah.
of people will die. And like when they first said that, everyone was like, "Well, shit, that's serious."
Yeah. It's just,
That's it.
but oh no, I thought you were
I
I
thought
thought you were
you
going to
had
continue.
something to
No, you
say.
ended it like you were going to continue going. No, the Salt Lake Tribune posted this article today, and they're saying by Thursday it's going to be. I think there's like a board of doctors or like medical personnel that oversee all the hospitals like in Utah, not just IHC and university. But they're saying by Thursday they're going to evaluate, and then if it gets to, I forgot how many more cases by then, they're going to start prioritizing healthcare, which they've never done before. I mean, they have it right now and everything, but they're going to prioritize healthcare on everything, where it's like you have to meet this criteria. And if you don't check all these boxes, you're just going to be pushed aside. And for the most part, it's like if you get COVID and you're on a CPAP machine, there's a good chance you're not going to make it. And if you're an elderly person, if you're on the CPAP machine, there's a good chance you're definitely not going to make it. And it's like we're going to prioritize all of our resources towards the young people. And I didn't see the age cutoff because they didn't release like the actual guidelines yet. But it's like I'm pretty sure it's anyone over 65 years old. If you get COVID, you're just coming to the hospital to pass. And it's just crazy because we've never had this surge of things before. And I don't think that's what people understand. It's like even though I'm young, I'm going to be okay. But the people that are getting hit the hardest by this, like a whole thing, not just people getting sick and dying, but it's like where you work, where I used to work, healthcare and uh, school teachers. They're like the big group of people that you need them to make the world go round more than you think. And it's just like, okay, you don't think about the teachers. I'm like, okay, well, they're teaching the next generation of kids. And it's like, okay, well, if there's no teachers, who's going to watch your kid for 8 hours a day from 8 to 3? I don't know. I guess my wife could stay home. And it's like, okay, well, what happens if your wife gets sick? She goes to the doctor. Oh, I guess you can't because all the hospital beds are full. There's no doctors. They're prioritizing healthcare right now. And it's just like, that's okay. I'm going to get everything I need by Christmas. And it's like, actually, no, because we're already getting surges on top of surges on top of surges from everything that people are buying right now. Because when I worked at FedEx, it was like every day we were moving more packages than we did during Christmas time, like during the
Mm,
Christmas peak season.
us
And
too.
yeah, normally it would start like about this
And
time is when the peak would start
yeah,
for us, and it would go all the way to the last week of December or like the last
and
Wednesday of December.
and
And it's
like
just,
even with Amazon Prime, like
yeah,
we
Prime is
Amazon Prime
screwing
wasn't
everybody.
it was but like it wasn't even like it was a little bit busier in the sense that like it would bump our stop counts from 200 to like 230,
Yeah,
240. But even then it's like that's an extra hour of work. We were already
yeah, it's
working 10-hour days.
yeah, it's an extra hour of work, but it's just like
So it's like
people aren't designed. I mean, there's people that love to work like you, and it's just that's fine. But everyone has a breaking point where it's like,
yeah,
I don't want to be here anymore. My body literally needs time to rest, and it's like
one like
me
yeah.
just going home and sleeping isn't enough. I physically need just a
Mhm.
mental day. I was also reading this other article about Amazon, and they were saying their workman's comp is going through the roof because the same thing. Work or Amazon's probably even worse than our jobs because they have that strict, like if you live in certain cities, it's same day or within 5 hours, something like that, or
Mm,
overnight delivery. And it's like the people that work there, you have to move X amount of packages an hour, pick X amount of things, load things X amount per hour. And it's like if you don't meet that criteria, Amazon gets hurt. And then Amazon's like, okay, you suck, you're expendable, see ya. And then they pick the next person. And it's just like they they do the training, but they just like throw you in at the end of it. There's no like 2 week grace period. Like when I started, or towards the end when I was in my job, they would do like a week on and like a week off, where it was like 2 days we're in classroom where you would actually learn, and then the 3 days would be like, okay, you're in the warehouse for 30 minutes, and then 45, and then an hour and a half. But now it's like you're in there for a day to fill out all the paperwork, and then you go straight from there to just, okay, have fun. You're with the trainer, but have fun. And the trainer's like, I'll be back when I'm back because there's maybe lights on and we
Yeah,
have landfills. Every trailer has landfills. I'll be back, and then they leave you in a trailer with like 800 packages coming down the chute.
it's like it's just bad all around. So I wanted to look at this because while we are talking about Amazon, a funny thing happened, and I don't know who to tell. I kind of don't want to tell anybody, but I feel fucked up not telling anybody. So I get their coffee, their little coffee pods.
Yeah,
I get them shipped to my house, and then I this past time I didn't want the regular roast. I wanted a dark roast, so I canceled it, ordered a dark roast, and I have a lot of credit card theft.
really?
Don't know why. Don't
That's
like
weird.
I go through third party apps. Like I'll take the extra step to go through a PayPal, then from PayPal to somewhere. So it's like I never do like direct card to somewhere. And so it's like I don't know how I don't know how they keep getting my credit cards.
Do
And
you have the
so
same pin?
it's so I ordered this thing and it went through, and then I get an email from Chase saying, like the next day, saying, "Hey, we blocked a purchase because it was locked." They're like, "Hey, we blocked a purchase. You're welcome." And I was like, "Okay, that's whatever." And then I'm on my way home and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's probably my coffee that I ordered. Now I have no Keurig coffee." And what it was, but I get to my house, look at my door, box of coffee, like a hundred count Keurig pods that they tried to charge me for, but they never did. And now I'm like, now I just have a box of. I mean, I'm drinking it, but
I'm not.
that's
I
my.
don't feel bad. Suck it, Bezos.
This is your fault, Jeff Bezos, if you're watching this. But yeah, it's back to the COVID stuff with our job, with your old job, my job. It's like you're saying, a lot of people just it's because they've never had to worry about it before. I think that's what they
Yeah,
don't realize is like even as much as I love to work, if I get COVID, it's like yeah, you can't work until you're cleared.
yeah.
So like
They
I
won't
mean
let you
it's
on the
a
property.
yeah, it's like and with good reason. I mean
Yeah,
it's but it's nice because it's like it's kind of just a paid vacation to be honest. But also it's like
mine
you
wasn't a
you
paid vacation.
mine
I,
is,
I
but
I never had COVID, but I had 7 tests total, but some of them were like after when I quit. But the ones I had, I they said it was supposed to be paid, and I was like, I hope it's paid. I called them and like, yeah, it's gonna be paid. No, don't worry about it. And then I came back 2 weeks later, and they're like, you didn't actually have it, so we don't have to pay you. And that's another thing. It's just like, okay, but if someone in my family has it, but then I don't get it, I still don't get paid. And it's like, I have shit to pay for. The banks are still requesting money. My kids still need to eat for 2 weeks. And it's just like,
mm,
what am I going to tell my landlord? Sorry, dude, I'm just going to be bumming around for 2 weeks because my job won't let me in there. And I can't go anywhere else because the
so that's
CDC is
quarantine.
just like, yeah, I'm quarantined. The CDC is like, I'm actually a biological weapon right now.
You see this body? It's a weapon of mass destruction.
It's a WMD, boy. But yeah, it's
But
just stupid.
yeah, I mean like we've been going through it weird with like as far as Utah goes, as far as like we've had the lowest case count in pretty much all of the states, which is really nice. Um, I don't agree with most of the stuff. I mean, now where it's like I don't agree, you can't constitutionally mandate masks. It doesn't work like it doesn't work that way. So I don't agree with that. I agree with businesses saying, "Hey, you want to come in here? You have to wear a mask. That's the rule. Don't like it? I'm sorry. You have to wear a mask if you're going to come in here." I have no problem abiding by it. I listen to my job when my job says, "Hey, anytime you're going into a store delivering a package, or if we have to get a signature from somebody, put your mask on.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But there's something weird about the government telling you need to wear something that's just not doesn't sit right with me.
It's
Um,
just, it wouldn't have to be a mandate if everyone just did it. Literally, if everyone wore a mask for 2 weeks at the start of this pandemic, this would have been half the summer. It probably would have been ending right about now. And that's like, there's a couple of places before New Zealand had that new outbreak when they went back on the lockdown, but like they had the lowest cases because it's like, you know what? Here's the money that's already in your account. Buy stuff on these X days and just stay home for 2 weeks. And then after that, it was like, okay, it's fine and dandy. There's this place, there's this little island outside of Spain, like in that whole territory. They don't have COVID. They haven't had a single case of COVID. They're not letting anybody in. Like they get shipments by air and sea and stuff like that. They wipe it down, but they're not letting people into that country, and they're not letting people out. And it's like, okay, if we do manage to let you leave, you cannot come back until everything is clear. So it's just like the mandate sucks. I don't like it because I don't like the government telling me what I can and can't do. But at the same time, it's like people now are too stupid and they don't care about other people to wear the mask. Just wear
See,
it.
the thing is like if I I just like I agree people need to wear it, but that's why my point is like it should be a shame and a pox on all the big box retailers because
Oh, it should be.
they waited until the government made them say it.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
should have
like
just been like, I'm sorry, you have to wear
Kroger
a
did.
mask. Yeah, I'm like, you
Luckily,
have to
like
wear a mask.
that's why I always go to like Smith's that we have here in Utah is because Kroger was the first company that didn't wait for a mask mandate. They just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're limiting capacity and this." And
Yeah,
then
and it was just like, yeah, every time I go anywhere, I wear a mask unless I'm like, if I'm going on a walk around the neighborhood, I'll bring it with me, but no one really walks around my neighborhood. Or if I go in the morning, no one's up that early, and it's just like
yeah,
use
and if
common
you're
sense.
outside, it's
Yeah,
like
if you're literally within like 2 arm length or a giraffe neck around somebody, wear the mask. And it's just like there's a good chance you don't have it. There's a good chance you don't have it. But you know what? Stay safe and just avoid, and then just that's it. That's
well,
just, and it's just,
especially now that it's like I'm not gonna go to very many. Like with the holidays coming up, I've already made up my mind. I'm like,
yeah, I'm like,
Thanksgiving's just gonna be. I'm just gonna order a pizza
yeah,
and have
Thanksgiving's
Thanksgiving at
here.
my house, and
And yeah, it sucks because today was our brother's birthday. Well, last week was his birthday, but today was his actual birthday party. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't go because it was supposed to be outside, but Utah decided to snow in October again.
I know.
And it's just like, I can't go because
Yeah,
I
it just
don't trust that
I'm
everyone
like
in the family wears a mask. Because last time I was there, no one wore a mask except for me. And I was freaking out by everybody. And I'm like,
it's
get away from me.
it's like if it can't be outside or if it's over 10 people, I get anxious too.
Yeah, if it was just
Because
us and like your family, my family, and mom, and that was it, because that's what she said it was going to be. And then everyone else came, aunts, uncles, their kids, other cousins from out of the state are coming in and hanging out. And it's like our cousin that just got cleared from having COVID. It's just like, it's too
yeah,
much. And especially if
I'm
someone
like
does get sick, it's just,
yeah, I'm like I'm the only one in my family that works. I can't get sick.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, what's going to happen if you get sick and you're got you can't do anything for 2 weeks? It's like,
Yeah, I'm like
I
that. Yeah,
mean, even
that
if
would
your work
absolutely
does
suck.
pay you, it's going to be like, okay, well, we're going to put it on next check. We can't give it to you this check. It's going to
Yeah,
be, and
well,
it's like,
it's still going to throw a wrench in it because it's like they'll pay you 40 hours a week, and I work over 40 hours a week.
yeah.
So it's
So it's
like
just,
I've never just worked 40 hours. I always work
yeah,
about 45 to 50. So it's like, okay, well, right there, I'm going to be missing about like $100, $200 on every paycheck.
yeah. And it's just like, I don't, I don't know. I'm just more concerned about people getting or like having it than being around them. Um,
Yeah, I'm mainly just concerned about our family because our family's a little bit older.
Yeah, we have lots of elder. I mean, no one in my family has passed, thankfully. But yeah, it's just like I don't even know what would happen if I got sick and then I gave it to one of our elder family members and they ended up passing from it. I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm the one that killed them. That
And I would
sucks.
remind you every single day.
And everyone would know. They're not going to bring it up, but everyone literally would know. And it's
It
just,
would be like if you accidentally like shit yourself in your 20s at like a work party. No one's gonna say anything because that's not like you're an adult. You shouldn't have shit yourself, but you did, and we all know.
yeah, it was just like ridiculous. And I don't know, like we said, our cousin had that case, and it was just like he was out of state, not wearing a mask, or hang out with people that weren't wearing masks, got it, and then came and hung out with our family. Well, not like our parents, but our grandparents and aunts and uncles that are already in older, like that older category. And he was just sitting there willy nilly, like talking to them, and then found out a few days later that he had it. So it's like he had it, and like six other people had to get tested. And then our
Well,
other cousin,
it's
what?
it's also just like you just never know like where you can get it. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's just like it could. Yeah, it just. I don't know. It just sucks because I hate it. I'm tired of being home all the time. It sucks, and
but
I'm like,
Operation Warp Speed means that we might have a vaccine by the end of this year. Of course, that just because we have a vaccine doesn't mean normies like us are going to get it.
yeah, they
Um,
did say they're going to prioritize doctors, like the healthcare, and then the senior citizens are going to get it because they're the ones that are
which
most
makes
likely.
total sense. I'm like,
Yeah, it's fine.
because
I'm just more
yeah,
concerned about like the long term effects of the vaccine.
yeah, like
I'm just like,
I don't want
I
to
don't
lick an
expect turning
Asian
into a
person because I
zombie,
don't want to get it.
but like I don't want. It was like one of the final trials they were doing. A couple of people had a fever of like 103 or 105, where they had it for like a day, and like you can cook yourself to death at that temperature. And it's like they
I
went there. I mean, they're in the hospital, but honestly, the hospital, the only thing they can do is like cover
they
you
give
in
you
cold,
ibuprofen
cover you in
to
like
lower your
cold packets. And I'm like,
yeah.
next thing you
It's
know, ice would be sold out.
it's wouldn't that be weird in winter for ice to be sold out?
Yeah. I'm like, it won't be too
um,
bad in Utah. I would just hang out outside and hang out with my shrinkage.
it's going to be like The Walking Dead. In the first season of The Walking Dead, the secret was is everybody was already infected, and
Yeah.
it only kicked in when they died. So like even if you weren't bit, if you died, you turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
So it's like what I don't. So this might be that.
Maybe.
So maybe when people start just dying of natural causes, we're gonna have a bunch of zombies on our hands.
I was just like, I don't. I just, I'm excited for everything to go back to normal. And they were talking about like the new norm, and they're like, this is never gonna go back to normal. I'm like, it's gonna go back to normal. It just the faster we get done with this suck, because everyone's sucking the same. It's not like you, Tina. I know you have a jet ski. I know, but just don't use it for a year, and then we can all hang out and ride your jet ski next year. It's just, it just sucks.
I still think Ellen DeGeneres had the best joke of lockdown.
What'd you say?
Um, she said, "Lockdown for me is a lot like being in jail. I'm stuck inside, and everyone here's gay."
Oh, that's funny. Too bad she's a
So I'm
piece of
like,
shit off the
oh,
air.
that's not fair. She's a New York comic. What do you expect?
That's fair.
I mean,
Just her
that's like
whole, just her
like
whole. I had no idea this kind of things were
I know.
happening, even though I'm the
I'm
head
like
honcho. And then
I'm
they're
like
like, okay,
I
we gave in. They have PTO, and it's like every job has PTO.
I
Why
know.
why didn't you have PTO?
So now that we're past that scary, you have to watch the video to
Ooh.
see the fingers. Um,
Don't get scared of my
or
t-shirt.
let's talk about Skinwalker Ranch. So one interesting thing about this is it's in Utah, and the Utes Native American tribe actually they're the ones that are said to have started this whole feud. It was between two Indian tribes. It was between the Utes and the Navajos. I don't know if you knew that part. It's between the Utes and the
No.
Navajos. And what happened was one of them casted some black witch magic, voodoo stuff on the other tribe, and they did it in like so they did a ritual, and they just so happened to do it exactly where Skinwalker Ranch is. So one person did it to put a pox on the other tribe, and it ended up bringing basically the gates of hell to that spot is basically what that voodoo magic did. And it's said that there it's so here it's in Ballard, Utah, so Pitcher Park City, keep going towards Colorado. It's about 500 acres. So it's 500 acres of just demon. So that's
Bunch
a
of
pretty good.
suck. That's a big
It's a
door.
it borders the Ute Indian Reservation, and so they believe they're just very powerful spirits. That's so they're essentially just demons that can like shape shift, and they're like from what I like remember of reading like certain lore is like they're kind of a lot like the term doppelganger, because a doppelganger like people use it to say like, oh, that guy looks like me, he must be my doppelganger.
Yeah.
But it's actually a demon. A doppelganger is a demon, that
Yeah.
so like something that would look just like you, but one thing about it would be off. So it's like um whether it would be the voice, the smile, something. With the skinwalkers, they're essentially like they can look like a human, but one thing is wrong.
Yeah.
And like once you like it said, like once you notice it, they notice you notice it. Then it's like Among Us. Then you got to die. Hate to tell you.
Yeah.
So the other thing is it attracts a lot of like UFO sightings. So it's the a lot of people
Yeah.
find
It's a
it
very
very interesting.
paranormal
Yeah,
area.
that's the main thing is like people haven't exactly said that they've seen like a skinwalker like or have proof of it, but there's a lot of like just paranormal stuff that happens there. So back in 94, um it's there was a family that bought it, and they only lived there for like 2 years. The problem when they bought it is so the dad wanted to be a cattle farmer, bought cattle, moved here, bought this ranch, pennies on the dollar. Guy was anxious to get rid of it. Come on, dude. It was the
Yeah.
90s. There's already been movies that have been like this. Problem, so he bought it for pennies on the dollar, and when they get there, their cattle started dying, and they didn't know why. So they assumed wolves because they're
Yeah.
up in the mountains, oh, by Colorado.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh yeah, wolves. We'll just keep close watch on them. One day he went outside and saw a wolf, and the problem with this wolf is it was three times. It was three sides. Like it was like up to like his chest, and he was an average height man. So if a wolf is up to your chest, that's a big ass wolf. Wolves don't get that big. So the story goes that it like trotted up to where the cows were, and it didn't leave any footprints. And from there, he started shooting at it with his rifle, and the bullets didn't pierce it. Like they didn't like hit it and fall down. They just like went directly through and like hit right behind it. So he was confused, as anybody would be, and it like it was like a field away from the cow, and like jumped like the entire length of the field, grabbed the cow, and just jumped away.
Just
Like that's probably where the
yeah.
term cow jumped over the moon came from. So it's like it was just a lot of weird things like like they would deadbolt their doors and like lock them with extra locks since like the cow started disappearing, because they didn't know if it was somebody breaking onto the
Yeah.
property or something. But every morning every door would be open and every latch would be undone, but nothing like they like
Yeah.
nothing inside would be disturbed. It would just be like you go to sleep, you locked your door, and you have extra locks, and they would wake up, every lock would be undone, and the door would be open.
Yeah. It was just yeah. I know Grandpa would tell us, or he told me stories about it a long time ago. He worked at the call that's north of where I live, about 2, 3 hours, probably closer to 3 hours. If you guys never been to Utah Thigh Call, They do rocket testing, rocket storage, that kind of stuff for NASA. Did you ever go to like the Thiokol testing area? We had a field trip one time where they like showed the rocket, like where they would test it before they give it to NASA and stuff. But if you go anywhere like outside of the populated areas of Salt Lake, like north of Ogden or south of Ogden or east or west, it's pretty much a desert and just death. That's why everything comes here and now it's all that shit. But anyways, there's just like these long empty roads that are just like it's pitch black and you could just like see nothing
It's
except for
creepy.
it's creepy. I have no story I can tell you after this one, but he told me one time that he was there like just checking things like he would, and he would say that it was only there were other people that would like wander the perimeter and stuff like that. They had like those big walkie talkies, but he never said it was like a me and a partner together. It was just like him and just wandering around. The most he would do was like shoot some coyotes or something like that. But he was saying one time he was driving down the road and he saw like a something walking like up ahead in the distance, and he thought it was like some person just wandered their way onto the property, and he was like trying to like chase after it, but it just like disappeared into the night. And he was like, it was a person. It was like an average sized person, but it just disappeared into the night. And he's like, I had like the big, like he had like the Magnum flashlight and stuff like that, and like I'm pretty sure his car at the time had like that police searchlight, and it's like
Yeah.
he's like, but people would say stuff like that all the time. He's like, I don't know what I saw. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I would have shot it if it came at me, but I don't know. He's like, it took off before I could even do anything to it. But it's like, same thing. The skinwalkers, it's, I don't mess with that kind of stuff. They're the Indian equivalent to the chupacabra. I don't, it's like if it touches you and you get cut, if you get attacked by it, you become a skinwalker. And it's just like, no, they're people, but they also aren't people at the same time. They can go crazy, and I've heard stories of like them completely changing into different people, like
Mhm.
just
Like
completely morphing
Agent
into
Smith
yeah,
in the Matrix.
yeah, just swapping, just turning into different people or turning into different animals while people are like chasing them and stuff like that, and they just disappear. I've heard stories where it's like they're werewolves, and it's like the moon comes out or something happens, and they turn they're themselves, but they don't know what happened when they did that.
Mm.
There's been stories about it. If you follow the podcast Lore and other like, if you just type in scary podcast, or if you like subscribe to Lore, there's other podcasts about it that like talk about more extensively about it. Lore is a good one because some of it's based on truth, but other ones it's based on like mythology and like actual stories that people have had, like they passed down and stuff like that. Not just like when you think of it, it's like, oh yeah, well my great grandma, blah blah blah. This, it's like no, it's relevant to our times. It's like more recent stories and stuff like that. But my story about this whole like Utah in general is just like really paranormal, weird shit happens here. Not in like this populated part, but like I said, outside of north of Ogden and like south of Salt Lake and east and west of Salt Lake, where you go to like what's that military base that's really hush hush out out west? It's they do like a lot of chemical warfare that way.
Area 51.
No, that's Vegas. It's there's a
Vegas is west
military
of us.
base. There's a military base west of us that's like in the middle of nowhere. It's like Area 51, but there's no alien related stuff. It's
Let
Matthew's
me see.
Matthew's
So I
clicking.
have okay, Dugway Proving Ground.
Maybe let's just go with Dugway. But yeah, it's like this super secret military base where it's like there's layers in the military base where it's like even though you get into the front doors, you can't go in through the other doors because you don't have that level of security. Don't know
Yeah, it
how you
says
get it.
Dugway is an absolutely massive testing ground for some of the most harmful chemical weapons.
Yes, that kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm pretty sure if something explodes, everyone and everything in Utah and Colorado and Nevada will probably be dead in an instant. But,
We might
anyways,
accidentally blow up the West Coast.
yes, very much so, with some kind of weird STARS related thing like COVID. But uh, a few years, well, it was more than a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Jessica and me were going up. to Idaho to visit her grandparents. And to get to Idaho, we drove, we didn't fly. We drove. So it was like from Salt Lake to Ogden. And then there's that long stretch from Willard all the way to Brigham. And then from Brigham, it's Honeyville. And then it's like from Honeyville, there's really nothing except for like these little honky tonk towns. And like the only other town I could think of when you first get into Idaho was like Jerome, Idaho. I don't know if you've been that far, like if you've ever had to go to Idaho before, but there was like this stretch. We just left Snowville and we were going through to get to like Jerome, Idaho. And we were sitting there driving. It was about 2 in the morning, I think. And we were just sitting there driving, doing nothing, listening to the radio. And this is before like iPods could connect to your car and like Bluetooth and stuff like that. And we were just sitting there listening. We had like the CD in the car and it was fine. And all of a sudden the radio, like in those old movies, it would start going all haywire. It was like shit like that. And I was like, that was weird. And like the car itself, the lights and everything turned off. The car was still moving, but the lights turned off. And I was like, Jess, why did you turn the lights off? And I like looked and I was about to say that. Everything within, it has to have been like 150 to 200 miles for like an instant. It was bright. It was like the sun turned on just for a sec. And I was like, what the fuck? And then everything turned black. And the light, like the radio, just, and the song started playing. The lights turned on. And I looked at Jessica and I was just like, and she looked at me and I was like, okay. So she acknowledged this happened too. And then we didn't do anything. We didn't stop at Jerome because we would normally go there to like this weird honky tonk gas station. Scared the shit out of us. We ended up going to like there's this random Walmart in the middle of Idaho, like in the middle of nowhere. And we parked out there. We sat there and we're just, did that just happen? Explain to me tell me what you just saw. The same thing happened to us. Like she saw the same shit I did. And the time, it's not like a big lapse of time happened. And it was just weird. And normally at first I thought it was like something logical, like the Thiokol testing, but I'm like, the Thiokol testing, the rock is sideways when they're testing it, but it doesn't produce that kind of light. I've never seen anything that does that much light for that long. And it still freaks me out. I have no idea what the shit I saw that day. My brain couldn't comprehend it. I didn't see anything in the sky besides like a regular sunny blue day, like a sunny sky blue or blue sky sunny day. It was weird.
That's crazy. So when you guys go to Idaho, like how like that must be awful. Would you guys go back up there?
That was our second to last time we went. Every time we went since then, we would go during the day. We would leave after Jessica got off work, or she would get off work at like 3 or 4, and we would get there like at 9. I'm like, I don't want to drive at night because I don't know what that was. But I don't. And I was like talking to the people about it, and he's like, dude, stuff like that happens out there. And I'm like,
I've heard that about of like
what?
and like long stretches of desert is like really popular too.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe it had to have been some kind of testing for some. I just kept thinking of like something that would like a rocket or whatever, but I'm like, but rockets are just like rocket
and it wouldn't,
and it emits light behind it.
Yeah, a rocket doesn't go 360 light. It goes very like 90 degree, like exactly where the flame is.
Yeah, they go like an arc, or like the longer ones, they just like. But even then, why would you want to be bright to see it? You don't want to see a rocket coming at the bad guys. It was just like, I don't know. It was just so weird that it was like, I mean, everyone knows what it's like at 2 a.m. in the morning, like 2 a.m. and it's just like dark.
Especially those back roads where the speed limit's 85.
Yeah, there was no other car there with us though, so it was not like I could pull over and be like, "Did you see that?" It was just like us and Amelia or Sydney at the time was like a little girl sitting in the back, just like drooling and sleeping. And I'm just like, did I just get probed? What just happened? I just like,
Okay, this is so weird. I
yeah,
had to shit. I don't
yeah.
have to shit anymore.
Maybe it took my poop. Maybe it took my poop. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know if you have any weird shit like that. I mean, that would be a great time since we're talking about this.
Never
Like,
like driving. It always like it's one of those
Dad
things
also has a good one
that
too. If you
you
ever
know
talk
it.
to him about it, FaceTime him and just have him on the side. Bloop. But yeah, he told Jessica and me one when he was getting ready. Well, like you have to go to basic training outside. I think he had to go to Oklahoma or Georgia for his ranger training, and he was saying that he saw some weird shit like by like the Texas roads and stuff. I don't know the
Like, but
exact
like
story.
Texas and stuff makes sense too.
Yeah, it was like because of the Marfa lights and that. But I don't know. So
Yeah, it's
if you guys
it
know what
it
kind of weird shit happens out in like northern Utah, outskirts of Idaho, let me know.
yeah, it's all like those kinds of things always fascinate me, and it's one of those where it's like happy to hear the story, happy it's never happened
Yeah,
to
I mean
me.
it's cool now that I'm like this happened so long ago, but at the time I was literally shitting my pants and I'm like I pulled out my phone to like I gotta push 911 and call the cops to tell but it's just like of course like the movies it's like no cell service. And I'm just like at the time they didn't have LTE, they were just roaming and it's like you're so far in the middle of nowhere they don't even have roaming.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm
like
like
there's no towers out here.
yeah, I'm like we had to drive for another 40 minutes before we got to that Walmart and it was just like we turned off the radio and we just sat there and Jessica was just like and I didn't even speak. We didn't say anything. It was just
Yeah, see,
shit just went down.
I never go on like those adventures to put myself in those situations.
I didn't
But yeah, like
expect that.
I love the stories of them, which it's weird because I don't like scary movies because a lot of times they're not actually scary. Like
Yeah.
they're not a scare like I enjoy a genuinely good scary story
Yeah.
because like I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I enjoy like actual scary movies, not horror films. And to me the difference is the scary movie has a good plot,
Yeah, so
no
movies
jump
have a plot.
scares, and
The other one's just
but
like
like
gore.
it's like gore, jump scares, and all that stuff. So it's like nothing like that ever happens to me. That can't be logically explained.
Yeah.
So it's like everything that's happened to me is like very like it scares me in the minute, like in the moment, but at the same time, like it's logically explained, and it just happened at the worst time. Like
Yeah.
there's plenty of times I have a key holder on the wall over. Well, you guys can't see my front door, but right next to my closet is my front door, and I have a key holder that I always put my keys on, and um, it falls randomly. But the thing is it's because it's on two hanging nails, and it's pretty heavy. It's like a 3-4 pound piece of wood that's just like oddly shaped. It's the Denver Broncos
Yeah.
logo, so it's just oddly shaped, and it wasn't meant to hang like that, but we do because I don't want to put it on one because I'm afraid if it keeps falling, it's just going to break.
That's fair.
So I put it on two, but like still, even with two, it'll randomly just fall off because like the nail like weighs so much it like bends the shitty nails I
Yeah.
bought. And like so like that'll randomly have like I'm sitting here like in the middle of the night, or like we're gaming or I'm watching TV and it falls and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I'm
truly
like,
that's yeah, I mean I don't actually don't remember the last time that I actually like watched a scary movie. Um Last time I watched a movie that scared the shit out of me was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like the first time I watched it, and Hostel the first time I watched it, because both of which I watched them at night, way later than I should have, and I was already like freaking out, and I'm like, why am I still awake? Why am I watching this by myself? Why did I put myself in this situation? But I gotta finish it and watch it to make sure the guy in Saw dies, or the not the guy. I want to make sure Leatherface dies. Have you watched? Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No.
Oh my god, it's based on true stories. It's ridiculous. It's like quick story. It was like in Texas, like in the 70s or 80s, something like that. Bunch of fun kids going out having a good time. Their car breaks down like this middle of nowhere ranch, like farmhouse type of thing. They go try to like knock on the house and like there's no one there. And they're like, hey, hello, our car's broken down. We just need some help. You guys got like an extra tire or like AA, triple AA or whatever it is. And nothing happens. And it's like these weird things start happening. They're like, they think there's someone watching them and they're like wandering around the property, like trying to find someone to talk to or just like trying to find other people. And they come across this like kill room and this dude, Leatherface, he lived there with his family or something. I don't remember the whole thing about it, but he lived there by himself or with his family, and he had a big chainsaw, and he would like kill people with his chainsaw, and you couldn't actually like see him, but you could hear like the chainsaw. It was just like idling, like, and then he would just. There's just people like just relaxing out of nowhere, trying to figure out what's happening, and Leatherface comes behind him and just like stabs the dude right here with the chainsaw, and it's just like, oh my god, people are dying and blood's going everywhere. But the whole thing is it's based on a true story, but when he would kill people, he would skin them and then put it on himself. So he would have like closets of like meat suits that he would wear. And his face, he covered his face with the faces of people that he killed. That's why when you see that thing on like those skins on COD, that Leatherface guy, they based it off of that dude. And then a couple of people ended up leaving or escaping. It was like one or two, called the cops, and they went to go try to find Leatherface, and he was gone. Like they don't know where he went, but they found his house, and like his whole basement was covered in like human parts and like skin laying everywhere that was sewn together like a suit. And he would just like he I don't know. It was just like that shit just scared me because I'm like, there's sick people out there that do shit like this, and they run away and you never find them. And there's a good
Like
chance.
the Hills of Eyes.
Yeah, exactly like the Hills of Eyes. And it's just like you can't find them because back then they didn't have like all kinds of forensic stuff now, because
Mm.
if your kid didn't get their fingernail or their thumb printed when they were little kids when the cops came, that was the only way that they would know who did it. And even then, it was like this weird backwater town in Texas that's like, okay, he's probably homeschooled. We don't know who he is. I mean, it's the like the deed on the house is so old. It's just like, yeah, the people that owned it was like 400 years ago or like 100 years ago, whatever it is. It's like you
Technically,
can't.
his house doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it's just you look and it just flies away. But like, did you see? It was like the beginning of August. It was like in Stockholm or like that part of Europe, like the watery, weird shit area, like where that shit always happens. But they found this container that were kill rooms, like hostel. People like rented out these like giant 53-foot containers or like the smaller 20-foot ones, and they would cover them in like sound insulation. And they found bloody tools and pieces of like people in these giant containers. And they found it on accident.
Imagine finding something like that on accident.
Yeah, I mean, I think they ended up finding some of the people that were like attached to it because of like the forensics and stuff. But it's just like you're working and you're just like, hey, Matt, open up container 37C. And you open up 37C and it's just like you open it and there's just like a kill room in there. And it's just like, uh, I don't get paid for this shit. I'm going home. It's
Close
just like,
container 34C.
you said 34. All right, open 37. I'll go. And it's like you just see someone in the middle of like killing somebody. You're just like, ah, sorry. But it's just like shit like that happens. And it's just, especially if it happens on the boat, I'm like, I'm pretty sure what if someone on the boat knows about this actually happening because they're the one that's like transporting it. And it's like, it's easy to grab a container on a boat and just throw it in the ocean. And it's just like the container, it just floats to the bottom of the ocean and it gets crushed by the pressure or everything. You're not going to find whatever's in there. It's gone. The body that's in there, it's gone. The only person that knows you killed it is you and maybe someone else if they're watching or It just, I don't know, weird shit like
Yeah.
that freaks me out. That's why Hostel scared me. Did you watch Hostel?
No.
Hostel was like that too. Bunch of fun kids going through Europe, hanging out. A hostel is just like a place where you pay rent, and it's like a big house, like a big mansion. They go there, and they're all excited, hanging out and stuff like that. And then slowly, people start getting picked off, and they wake up, and it turns out there's this group of elite like people that purchase you when you come into the country, and they kidnap you, and then they kill you. Like there's different rooms, like red rooms, and they just kill you, and people just like watch you do that. And like to be a part of the group, you have to kill someone, and then you get like this Georgia Bloodhound tattoo like on your arm. And two of the kids escape, and they're like freaking out inside Europe, running around. Oh my God, there's people trying to kill me! Ah, covered in blood. And the Germans are just like, I don't speak English. And then it turns out people that like are all people you don't think that are a part of like the hostile group or like that elite group of killing people. They're everywhere, and they ended up grabbing them, and they ended up dying from it. So it's just like, oh my God, thank you, you're here to help me. And it's just like, psych, stab, dead. And you see just like they have like that bloodhound on their arm, and I'm just, mm-mm.
Yeah, it's so like every
They
time
were
I watch a
scary.
movie, it's like
Those
this
ones are scary.
like every time I watch, it's like I watched As Above So Below on Netflix, and it's about the catacombs of Paris,
Oh yeah.
which I've never heard of, and apparently it's just in 1774, I guess there was like an underground way to get around Paris,
Yeah,
and
it was
then
just like a metro type of thing.
yeah. So, but it was like a metro for walking. So just
Yeah,
imagine like where a subway would go, but you walk.
yeah,
So I don't. So that way you don't have to. I guess like rather than go forward 2 blocks and then left, you can just go diagonal straight there. And every time I watch these movies, it's like that's a great concept to have them like go down there because that's that's their like the Skinwalker Ranch. The reason I want to talk about that is that's defined as the gates of hell in the Native American culture. Where and with the catacombs of Paris, there's literally something where etched above it um, is some language that means gates of hell.
yeah, yeah. It was
And
just,
there's like sayings where it's like if you keep going into it like this certain passage, like people go in there and like the lore goes that people go in there and they don't know where the fuck they go. They just don't come out.
yeah, yeah. Because they're saying it's like you go so far in there. The catacombs change when you go so far, so you can't actually leave. And then there's things that live in the catacombs,
Yeah.
like mole people, and it's just like, but yeah, there is this again like that podcast lore. They talk about the catacombs because there's you can actually go there, and like you can they
I
have like
saw
tours where
that.
you can go. They don't go very far, but I'm like, I don't want to go underground because when you go underground, the only way out is up. And normally, how far deep you want to go, it's like you can't just jump up and pull your way out. It's like, oh, it's like 60 feet underground. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to go and do that. But yeah, it's just like, Lord talked about one where it was like there was this giant plague that went through Paris a long ass time ago, and they had to put their bodies were dying everywhere, so they were putting them like in the catacombs, and they were just like throwing bodies in there. It's just like they just kept throwing it, and everything was fine and dandy, and like the plague stopped or whatever happened at the time, and then it's just like a big flood happened, and bodies were coming out of the ground because I mean the they didn't have cement. It was just like hard road, hard dirt, and it was just like it
Mm.
gets wet enough, and then bodies from like the catacombs were coming up and just like splitting out everywhere, and it was just like, oh my God, the dead is rising, and people were freaking about that, and then they were getting sick again because of like all the plagues of like being around dead bodies and shit like that, and it was just,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just crazy that like
just like the Great Wall of China, it's just like there's so much death in
yeah,
this, you can feel the juju. I don't want to be anywhere near it.
yeah, it's just crazy that like something that old one still exists. Why wouldn't you just
Yeah,
cover it? And two, it's like there's so much surrounding it that like it's hard to believe that it's not literally that, because there's like things that say like that like when you go to the gates of hell, you arrive there on your crawling on your stomach.
yeah,
And it's like it eventually gets like smaller and smaller and smaller to where you see that writing, it's said that like you're supposed to crawl to the next area. But anyway, the movie was dumb. But
yeah.
it
I'm
was
like,
such a
no.
it was such a great idea for a movie of like
Hmm.
these typical like tourists go down there, something goes wrong, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's stuff like that fascinates me, and like I love the stories around it. But yeah, that's a big cup of nope. Like I enjoy the
Yeah,
stories about the Skinwalker Ranch and all that stuff, but
yeah.
that's
Because
a
a lot of
big
the
that's a
people,
big
yeah,
cup
they
of
have
nope.
it every year. Like on Groupon, they uh they have the advertisements for it. Like they have
Even
the,
Alcatraz.
yeah.
Mhm.
What's that? The the Heber Creeper, is that what that train is? That's out like out that way they do like the, it's like a train like in Midway, kind of by that area, and it's like something like that. And then during the wintertime, it's like the Polar Express type of thing. But like they, I get Groupons for that, but I also get Groupons for like the Skinwalker Ranch, and there's like people that like go and like physically go out there, and I'm just,
Mm-mm.
yeah, like you said with Alcatraz, I'm like, they shut that shit down for a reason, yo. I'm like, there's so much death here.
I played The
Mm-mm.
Suffering.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm like, I played the Suffering. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Yeah, she
Yeah,
gave
and I'm
that
just
bitch.
like,
Mm-mm.
you gotta make a movie face. Like, what's that? What's that place in Salt Lake? That cement factory that got shut
Fear
down?
Factory.
Yeah, Fear Factory is actually
It got
supposed to
shut
be.
down.
No, it's actually haunted. Like
Oh, I thought you
people,
meant the
no,
haunted
people have
house shut
actually,
down.
no, people have
Yeah, like
actually
18
died
people have
there.
died there.
Yeah, and it's like this before HOSHA came in and like would put like rails and like actually mandated rules for companies, but it's like people would fall into the cement batter or like the cement mixer and just get ground up, and it's just like I, they just died.
Yeah, it's great. Like that kind of stuff is like I don't know why people want to mess with that kind of juju.
I don't know. People are like, let's go tour and see ghosts, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure if it sees you, it's stuck with you forever, dude. I don't.
Yeah, I'm like
If I don't
I
acknowledge it, I don't. It's not gonna mess with me.
see. I'm like I like sage regularly because I'm like I don't want it. I don't want it.
I don't sage. I wear my tinfoil hat, but I just like I don't, dude. I know if I acknowledge it and I go past the veil, you can't recover yourself.
See that's the thing of I mean like yeah. Luckily nothing happened. But I'm like I just good vibes, good
Yeah, and
vibes.
I'm just like good vibes only here, man.
Good vibes I'm not going to do. And that's like I don't even like to go to haunted houses that are anything like that are like supposedly actually haunted. Like I go to the ones at like Lagoon that are like
Oh
yeah, it's
yeah,
just a
that
building they
it's
built
a
with
bunch of
like
16-year
people
olds and stuff.
that like
Yeah,
try to scare you.
there's that other place too that's supposed to be haunted in Utah. It's outside of Ogden. When you're going through Willard and Perry area, there's like this, it used to be like a giant building on the right side of the road by the mountain where they would mine and stuff. It was like a restaurant or something. It's like probably about 30 minutes outside of Ogden going north on the like right side, or I guess on the east side of the road. And it's just like, I guess the whole thing Robert said was like it's haunted, and it's like every time they build something, it would catch on fire and just burn down. But it was, he said it was supposed to be haunted, and I'm like, don't even have to tell me any more about that, Grandpa. Nope.
Good looking out.
Yep.
I'll
I'm
stay
like,
away from there.
I'll make sure not to buy real estate at that place.
But so I wanted to close by talking about Call of Duty's new their LTM for Halloween, which
Yes.
is they have two or they have a couple. They have like the Plunder. So if you play Plunder, that's where you the first one to $1 million, where the first team to $1 million
Yeah.
wins. They changed that one to get candy. Makes sense.
Oh, they did. That's funny.
Nice, innocent.
Yeah,
The best part is zombies. They only do that in trios though, so I'm kind of
I
sad
know. I
about
hate that
that.
they only have it in trio. I wish they would do it in
It
all four.
you think they would because why the fuck wouldn't you?
Yeah,
But it's interesting. Like the way they did it was awesome because we also tried Apex because we're
yeah,
like I mean you don't have to play the zombie mode, which is nice. Like you can, well, if you're playing COD, you do. But in Apex, you can do duos or trios, and you can do it normal or there's zombie. The
yeah.
problem with Apex was it was too dark,
It's
and
too
not in
damn
like a
dark.
scary, not in like a
Yeah, you
scary
just
way,
can't
but
see
in like
shit.
a yeah, you don't know where like you don't know if it's a tree or a person if they're standing
Yeah,
perfectly still.
yeah. I'm like,
Like it
make it
could
more
just be a
Twilight.
bush.
Yeah, just make
Yeah,
it Twilight.
and that's what's perfect about Call of Duties is
Yeah,
it's not nighttime, it's twilight. So it's like it's super realistic in the sense that like if you're inside, the lights seem very bright to you when you first walk in,
yeah,
and then it adjusts. And then when you go outside, it takes a couple seconds for your eyes to adjust outside. Like on the screen, it takes a few seconds to adjust
yeah.
outside, and it's super awesome. Um, the biggest problem are the damn jump
The
scares.
jump scares.
The jump
Yeah,
scares are so awful. Like when I'm sitting here when I'm sitting here streaming, do 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 do, we're like going through searching all these boxes, and every once in a while I'm like, but ah!
yeah. If you guys haven't played it, the when you're in or when you're playing COD, you have to like find weapons and ammo and just stuff like that, and you have to open up these like foot lockers that are everywhere. And sometimes they give you just like that stuff, like weapons, ammo, stuff like that. Other times it gives you that jump scare, like Matt said. It depending on which area, it depends on like what it is. Sometimes it's like this, like a scary, just like face that comes out and it makes like this scary noise. Other times it's like a ghost or like something orange that pops out and like scares you. And it's just, it sounds dumb, but honestly, you're just like so focused because you're staring at the screen and you have your headphones on because you're trying to hear everything. And it just, and then it just scares you. I had a couple of jump scares when it first happened. It wasn't that bad, and I don't know. The last few times I've been playing it, I literally have been like ugly face. Ah! Oh god.
That's the problem. Like it's not that the picture's scary, it's not that the noise is scary. Like
Yeah,
you're saying, like you're focused, you're doing your thing, like you're sitting, you're trying to loot, find a good gun before like because there's other people there. Like they're like it's a war. Like it's teams of
yeah. There's
three. So
150
like
other people there trying to
yeah,
kill you, and it's just
and
yeah,
it's like you're sitting there trying to hurry, and then you open it, and it's like nice and quiet, and everyone's joking around, like because you can talk to your team.
yeah,
Everyone's joking around, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody go, "Ah!"
yeah.
It's
It's
so
crazy.
great.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping if in the game like that zombie mode, if you kill or if you open up all the boxes in certain areas, you get like a certain trinket in that thing, and after the whole thing, or the 13 or 17 trinkets, you get like this a new gun. And I did that, and I was hoping all the scares would be done, and it wasn't. It just like, damn. But yeah, it's one of my favorite LTMs that COD's or pretty much any game has ever done. Besides,
Yeah,
the only thing
it
I
kind of
can compare it
makes
to,
me sad that it's going away.
yeah, it's leaving. The only thing that I compare it to is like when Halo did like that soccer with like the gravity hammer thing. You
Oh
know what I'm talking
yeah,
about? That's
Griffball.
the only thing I can compare it to, and it's just like even then that wasn't it wasn't an LTM mode. It was just like a mini game in the game
Yeah,
that you can play, and it was just but yeah, Call of Duty definitely knocked out the park with that. Now if they get
yeah.
their
So
audio fixed, I would be one happy camper.
that's true. Yeah, I mean it's I'm the older I get, the more I like Halloween in the sense of like not like the whole watching Hocus Pocus kind of weird stuff, but like in the I get more appreciative of the scary side of like the
Yeah.
like just random. I don't know how else to phrase it other than that. Have you watched Adam Sandler's new movie Hubie Halloween?
Is it any good? I haven't watched it yet.
It's worth a watch. It has a few funny. It has like
I
a
heard it was like,
imagine like a slightly less funny Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison.
okay, yeah, I'm like, I wanted to watch it, and it's Adam Sandler. He has this script of like what he normally plays, and it looked like the same mesh.
Picture
I
the
mean, I
Water
wanted,
Boy
yeah, I'm
if
like, it's like him,
grew
but
up
like the Water Boy,
exactly. So just
and
picture
that's
the Water Boy if he grew up in Salem.
yeah. It looked like that, like the Water Boy mixed with like Stranger Things elements type of.
I mean
Yeah, so
that
it's
I
just
mean,
like,
it's worth the watch because it's only like 90 minutes.
yeah, I would watch just because I like Adam Sandler. I really
Yeah,
like
that's why we
his
watched it.
his dumb movies. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Adam Sandler. It's just, yeah, but it got really
cool.
bad reviews, so I'm just like,
Yeah, but all of his movies get bad reviews because it's like people just
yeah,
don't
it's
like the
just
humor. But
like,
it has a few really funny
I'm like,
moments.
they make movies because people watch them. That's
Yeah,
It can't be that bad. If it was so bad,
yeah.
he wouldn't be where he is today.
If you like Adam Sandler's humor, it's
Yeah,
worth
and
the
I'm like,
watch
it looked
because
funny. Yeah,
unlike Uncut Gems, he actually he wrote and produced this one.
I actually wanted to watch. I heard it was really bad, but I still
It
wanted to
was.
watch it.
The only reason I watched it because I thought it was his movie. It wasn't his movie.
No,
He just starred in
it's
it.
I can't remember who wrote it, but yeah, it's like these two brothers wrote it or something.
Well, they're awful at their job. They should quit. If I made a movie that bad, I'd kill myself.
Damn, that's dark.
That's real. But let us know what you thought of this spooky spook box talk.
Spooky pumpkin juice flavored. Ooh. But yeah, if you also have scary shit, let us know. Send us
Let us
comments.
know, and we'll talk about it next week too.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh my god, can you believe what? I can't think of a good name. What Bigfoot Sucker 37 said? Oh my god, it was so scary.
Bigfoot sucker. Oh my god, that doesn't sound like what you think it is. But yeah, so let us know. Follow us on our socials, Mattman SLC or Juice Pack Matt, half and half. Still haven't fixed it. Juicebox Tony over here. What's your Twitch now? You're streaming.
Oh yes, I did get back to streaming, and it is shit. I don't know. Give me a sec. This is embarrassing. I think
I
it's
guess.
Juicebox Tony, or I think it's just Juicebox Tony. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Juicebox Tony.
Oh, perfect. I
So
just wanted to make sure it wasn't
yep,
your
I just
PSN ID.
giving up someone else's thing. Yeah, it's Juicebox Tony on Twitch. So give me
So
a follow and
come in and enjoy the fun.
watch us make
But yeah,
ugly faces while we get scared the shit out of ourselves.
if you guys have any scary stories, tell
Any at
us.
all. Also, Dad, call us. Be on the podcast next week. Tell us your scary story, or tell Matt your
Yes,
scary
tell us
story.
your scary
You can
Oklahoma
zoom.
story.
You can zoom, and you can be our third top left corner.
You could be right. You would be right there. If you're
Okay,
watching the video, I'm pointing in the corner of the.
You're pointing at my corner. I meant you're going to be on the opposite side. You're pointing.
Yeah, we're gonna make a tower of power.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you all next week.
Okay, goodbye.